Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to round number 2 of the Refined Racing League Porsche Cup Season 1. We are here at the famous Summit Point Raceway, one of the very interesting tracks that will be racing on the calendar for this particular season. It's a very interesting track, actually. Summit Point, that you can see, it's not a particularly long circuit. The actual full length of this circuit, currently 3.2 kilometers. It's a very fast circuit as well, based in the USA, in the city of Summit Point, with a total altitude of 192 meters. Track temp at this moment in time is 44 degrees C. It's a very warm track temp indeed. Big thank you as always to our sponsors for this event. Fantastic to have them on board, and we're very much looking forward to keeping with them throughout this season. We'll be talking more about these sponsors later on in this broadcast. So what happened last week? Well, it was the first round and the debut round of the debut season of the Refined Racing League Porsche Cup, and it was very successful indeed. There was a lot of action, a lot of racing, a lot of cars out on track, and it was very close. A couple of people obviously did stand out in terms of performance and what they were able to achieve. But will this round be any different? Only time will tell. The format for this event is nice and simple. We've got a 15-minute practice followed by a 15-minute qualifying, and then we will have a 30-minute race. Now, there is a predetermined set of laps here, so it will be whatever comes first. My name is Daniel Handover. I will be broadcasting for you for this entire season, and I'm very much looking forward to being a part of it. If you have joined on the stream, please do make sure that you get involved. It's always good to catch up with people, and always good to catch up and keep me occupied on the stream. And also, if you've got any questions to ask, anything like that, please do let us know. Cars have made their way out on circuit. They are just setting their final practice laps before the all-important qualifying. Now, the all-important qualifying, it's a very tricky circuit, this is Summit Point, especially in cars as fast as these. The Porsche Cup 992 is not a slow car by any stretch of the imagination, and drivers are really going to have to be careful if they want to keep the car in check, keep the tyres in check. More importantly, that's going to be one of the biggest things you have to worry about for this particular race. It's scorching hot. Like I said, a 44-degree track temp is a very, very hot track indeed. What have we got as well going forward? Well, the second round of 4 held every 2 weeks, and this is going to be a very interesting one in regards to how this championship is going to develop. Bear in mind, this is the halfway point, and there's not that much opportunity to really make any adjustments after this. If this round is going to be a very, very crucial round for a lot of drivers, because this could very well be a defining round for what you have in terms of positioning and what you're able to do. Again, it's not saying anything too much more than that, because it simply doesn't necessarily mean, I'm sure, that there are lots of things that are going to happen, but we will wait and see. Moving on to a couple of cars at the moment. One of the drivers, first driver, is the number 43. My own personal number, actually, when I try and race. Whoop, that someone's gone off. That was the 993. Who was that? That was Luke Lucchesi. That's had a small moment. Daniel Rowe, the number 43. That's my number that I normally race when I'm able to. Currently just coming around 6 and 7. This is one of the more trickier complexes of Summit Point. In a few moments, we might see if we can get a little bit of track, a quick track walkthrough, if we are able to. You can just see here the car, it's dancing about consistently. It's dancing about quite a lot. Daniel Rowe decides that he wants to come in, maybe make a couple of setup adjustments, and off he goes again. Moving now down to Paul Gerber. Going through that tricky complex, that sort of triple right-hander. There's the first, there's the second, and there's that final third. You don't want to get caught out on the curb on the outside. That's the last thing that you want to do. As he goes through second to last corner, over the crest, and then eyes firmly set on the final corner, the all-important final corner. Down the start-finish line and on to another lap. Let's have a quick look at the timings and what people are able to set at the moment. We can see here, less than 3 minutes remaining of practice. And the Team Tryhard Racing Pro number 51, currently in P3 on this current practice session. Daniel Rowe still setting that fastest lap with a 109.270, so very, very fast lap time indeed. Lap time not to be squandered about at all. You see Daniel Rowe is now on another outlap. Pretty close though. Have a look at Tim Haynes, only a couple of tenths behind. Actually, less than that. He's a tenth. What's that? 1.3 or 0.13 even? No, just over 2 tenths behind. Just over 2 tenths behind is Tim Haynes. So it goes through down into turn 1. You can see the bumps in this circuit. This is a very, very bumpy track. Someone's got off. Who was that? That might have been Thinus Botha that's just had a small off on the exit of turn 1. Goes through down into turn 2. Whoa! There we go. That's certainly not what you want to do. Does it keep it out of the barrier? No. That is one thing you're going to have to be very, very careful of moving forward in this race, because if there's, this is it's a very open circuit, to be fair, but if you're not careful, this track can bite you, and it's very, very snappy. It happens almost instantly. There's a lot of the time there's very little that you can actually do when the car lets go on you, so you do have to be very, very, very careful. Indeed. Another minute or so left of practice, and then we will be going into qualifying. Sandino Nobrega, number 70. K&N Porsche 911 drops down into turn 1. This will be his last flying lap. It may even switch straight over as the timer gets to 15 minutes. So this may not be a lap that Nobrega is even going to be able to finish. We'll have to see. Currently running in P8 with a 110.291. So a very respectable lap. Again, very, very close. As the top 10 currently separated by 1.5 seconds. That will come down. Yeah, we saw it was very, very close in qualifying. Interestingly enough, we've had a couple of people. Look how close the midfield is between P10 and what's that? That's P10 to P16, P17. Less than, what's that? About 0.6 of a second for the between 10th. Actually, no, sorry, it's less than 0.3 of a second between 10th and 17th. 3/4 tenths. Very, very close indeed. It has just ticked over to 15 minutes. And then we're going to be going over to qualifying in but a few moments' time. In fact, while we get everyone on their out laps of qualifying, let's have a quick
basic human rights.
Oh, he's not too sure what happened there. Yeah, we're going to have a quick advert from our sponsors, IQ Media. So we'll be back in a few moments. Please make sure you stick around. Don't go anywhere.
Basic human rights. Water, electricity, healthcare, and education. But what if we don't have access to affordable infrastructure to support these basic rights? We are looking for a change, a better future for all. But without education and access to information, change can never happen. Welcome to IO Verified. We're not looking to just uplift and inspire our staff, but to empower and enrich the lives of communities, allowing small businesses to grow and build a future for themselves and enrich the lives of those around them. Join us today. Help us be the change and inspire the future.
Welcome back. Big thank you to IQ Media for that sponsor and for that advert. And that brings us nicely into qualifying. Drivers are getting their warm-up laps in straight away. No delay at all. Pretty much everyone is out on circuit at the moment. The only person that isn't out on circuit by the looks. Well, there's two actually that are not out. You've got Jason Gibson and Jeff Hancock. They're the only two drivers that are currently not out on circuit, interestingly enough. Now, I wonder, is there a particular reason for that? I've actually just seen Jeff Hancock has now made his way out onto the circuit. Again, the only person now left in the pit is Jason Gibson. Lap time's already starting to come on the board. Bear in mind, these will be coming out of the pit lane, so these laps won't make a difference. This will be the first set of laps that will make a difference, though. Where is he? There is Daniel Rowe. And it was leading the practice session by a good couple of tenths on his first flying lap. Where is this going to put him? Got to set a nice early precedence straight away. Because again, it is going to be close. It was close last time. It was close in practice. It is certainly going to be close once again. A couple of newcomers. See how they get on as well. Luke Lucchesi is one of them. Just about to into his first flying lap. Here comes Daniel Rowe coming down now into the last corner for the first time. Uses all of the track. And then where does Daniel Rowe go? Is it going to be a provisional pole? It is indeed with a 110.04. Actually, that was apologies. That was set by Simon Zerke with a 110.04. And then Daniel Rowe goes in there with a 109.68. Very, very close up the top already. Ryan Ottens just goes in P2. Look how close he is, though. 200ths of a second is the difference between Ottens and Zerke. So certainly something we're going to have to watch out for as well. Onno Kraus has just gone in ahead of Stephen Koenig. Only less than a tenth. Gaps are very, very close. Very, very close, as we expect to see. Stephen Koenig's now actually, you can just see pit exit. He's going for another out lap. Has decided that he wants a fresh set of tyres and to set another lap. See how he gets on. Jeff Hancock's is going to be setting his first flying lap. The team Try Hard Racing Pro-Am, number 184. As he goes through, little bit on the brakes to there. Just see that car lock up. Keeps out the barrier just about. Kisses the wall. And he will be on his way. No real damage done there. Got to keep it out of the wall. Oh my goodness. What on earth has happened there? I mean, that's certainly one way to exit the exit stage right, as they say. I don't think that car will be very much use after that. And I believe that was actually Daniel, I think it was Daniel Rowe that got caught out, that got involved there as well. Johan Grobler has just gone in with a 109.230 for the Hybrid Academy number 15. Teammate, I believe, of Daniel Rowe. That was very fast. So Grobler goes in and has set that fastest lap time. Luke Lucchesi in second place, 109.59. Daniel Rowe currently sitting in P3. And there he is out on circuit. The teammate. At the moment, it's P1 and P3 for the Hybrid Academy outfit. And there we are. There is Luke Lucchesi breaking up that pack with a very striking Lego liveried Porsche. Can't say I've seen that before, ever. It looks very, very striking. Very striking indeed. We got a little bit further down the order. There is Stephen Koenig. Again, he's got another couple of laps to set. Still 10 minutes left of qualifying, bear in mind. Tim Haynes only 400ths ahead. And then you've got Dan Jacobs only 400ths behind. Actually, I believe Tim Haynes has just gone. Now has decided that he wants to prove. He's now gone up into P2. And Tim Haynes goes up with a 109.564. If we now switch over in a few moments to the gaps, and there we go. You can see so 0.3 of a second. Grobler has now got over Haynes in P2. Lucchesi is very, very close, though, from looking at it from, well, really from second to ninth. There's only half a second in it at the moment as it stands. But certainly not too long, not too much time at all. Well, there's going to be some more movement, I would imagine, going forward. So again, using all of that track, running right to the very edge. Can't really ask for any more than that. We're getting a little bit of a toe off the number 24. Just get a tiny, tiny bit of slipstream. Jan Jacobs. He has brought the time down, though, has Tim Haynes. He's now brought it down to less than a tenth and a half. I think bad. Look at Ryan Ottens, though. He's just gone in with a very fast lap time as well, with a 109.39. Now, only 200s if we go to the intervals. Look at that. Only less, even. Less than 200ths of a second between Haynes and Ottens as it stands at the moment. Another very, very close gap is between Zerke and that is Gerber as well. That's actually the exact same, 0.017 of a gap. Now, for reference as well, just to make sure that we give everyone, again, make sure everyone's on the same page. So on the left-hand side, when we go to the interval, which is what you're seeing now on the left timing tower, anything that is in orange is less than half a second. Anything in yellow is less than a second. And you can see there, it is a sea of orange. So every single person, bar at the moment, Jeff Hancock's and Tian Jacobs, every single gap is less than half a second. And really, to be fair, you could probably have something for less than a tenth of a second, because there's quite a lot of those there as well. You know, on that I can see 4 glancing at it. Or near as makes no difference. But again, these times are going to get ever quicker as the track is rubbered in. Halfway through qualifying now. Daniel Rowe goes back up into P3. I've actually just noticed, I didn't realise that Luke Leggesi has gone up into pole position, provisionally pole position, taken over from Johan Grobler. And Daniel Rowe has gone in with that P3. So very, very close. The Hybrid Academy have been demoted to P2 and P3. Still a good performance in qualifying at the moment. Jesse, you see their pit exit. It's going up for another run. Absolutely, why would you not? If you were a few tenths ahead, you can quite comfortably say that you won't necessarily need to do too many more runs, but the fact that the gap is only a couple of hundredths of a second, definitely best to go in and grab some more, to grab a couple more runs, of which there will be certainly a couple. I imagine that going forward, drivers will be wanting to do one, possibly. I imagine there'll be two lap runs. So you'll have, well, that'll be 2 fly lap runs. You'll have 1 out lap, and you'll come in. 1 out lap, 2 flies, and then you'll come in the pits. And then change, possibly even 3 laps, actually, thinking about it. May even be 3 laps. Yeah, Samai, currently in P13. Again, a very close time. Only 100th of a second. Oh, near as makes no difference. 100th of a second away from Marius Pretorius. Pretorius, even. Another very close battle. There's going to be a lot of battles here. There is going to be a lot of battles indeed. A couple of people on the chat. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in, as always. So we've got Simi saying, and then will be popcorn. Indeed, there's definitely going to be some action here. Super D says, go Hancocks. Yeah, you've got some support for drivers here, which is good. It's what we like. As Samai comes into the pit lane, he's going to want to grab a fresh set of boots, and he will then be on his way. To Gerber. The Team Tryhard Racing Pro-Am. Teammates with Jeff Hancock. Let us not talk about what happened last time out. There was a small mishap, shall we say. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. A small mishap between teammates in the Pro-Am outfitted Team Tryhard racing car going down to turn 2. Turn 3 even, which wasn't particularly ideal. Something that Jeff Hancocks would be wanting to forget rather quickly. So I'm not going to bring it up any more than that. Currently number 69 in P9 overall. Back to the gap, 6 tenths away from P1. Oh, goes a little bit too deep into turn 4. That will be costing him. It'll cost him another couple of laps. He'll probably only have one more run after this, I would imagine. It depends. It could very well be actually that Gerber decides to stay out. It doesn't actually do anything different. To be fair, if I was probably in Dude's position, I would actually just jump into the pits. I would jump into the pits, change tyres, get a fresh set, and then off you go. Last thing you want to do, well, you want to give yourself the best car possible as late as you possibly can as well. There's someone else going off. I think that was Arno Kraus that had a small moment. Yeah, not 100% sure on that, but it seemed to... It certainly seemed to be. In fact, if we can... Let's have a quick look if we can go on board with Luke Leggesi. How? Whoa! Manages to save that. What a save. And I tell you what, let's have a quick onboard lap. Listen to that glorious flat 6 around Summit Point. And there we go, a lap at Summit Point. Very, very tidy lap by Luke Jesse. That lap, actually, incidentally as well, a little bit slower. Obviously, that was because all the time lost going down into turn 1 after the last corner mishap. Jesse still leading with only a minute to go in qualifying, so I'll tell you what, Tim Haynes did actually move up into P2, only a couple of hundredths off, so Tim Haynes, he's got another couple of laps if he wants to try and take that top spot away from Jesse. We'll have to see, he backs out. I don't think he may be coming into the bits. No, he's just getting a bit of clean air. So Tim Haynes is in the best position possible. In saying that though, Johan Grobler, have a look at that. The gap between Haynes and Grobler is 2 thousandths of a second. Only 2 thousandths of a second. So this is certainly going to be, it's going to spice things up a little bit as well. You know, when you've got the top 4, the top 5 even separated by less than 2 tenths. And your row still promoted. He's currently in P4. Hasn't promoted himself any further up the field yet. And in fact, he actually now moves down to P5. And that was because Ryan Otten's moved up into P4. So Daniel Rose decided that enough's enough. He is in the pit lane. 5 seconds left to go of qualifying. Where are we? There. Oh, no. Tim Haynes goes off. Couldn't quite see who was following, but he was following someone. It might have been. No, it wasn't Jeff Hancock's. Possibly could have been. That's it. Jeff Hancock's decided his time is not going to be beaten. A couple more people finishing their final laps. And then that will be it for qualifying. And then we'll be moving on into the race. Down to the last corner is Arno Kraus. Could use a little bit more track. Just looking at it, a very, very good camera angle to see the track that people are using. Does Kraus improve? Last lap time was actually no lap time set, so it would have been an invalidated lap from Kraus, so no movement there. Ryan Ottens comes through. No more improvements there. Same with Johan Grobler. Again, everyone just coming through down into the final laps. 2 or 3 more drivers left to go. And then that will indeed be it. In fact, I think that may have been it anyway, actually. To be fair, I believe people may just be getting a couple more laps in if they can. That bit of extra practice. Because why not? You can get all the practice in that you can. Why would you not want to grab that practice? Nobrega goes through, down for the final time across the line. What will that last lap have been, out of curiosity? It was actually going to be, again, a lap that wasn't actually recorded. But there we go. Qualifying is over. Here is your full grid results. And we can see here, Luke Lucchesi will be starting on pole position with a 109.207. P2 will see Tim Haynes starting on that second row. Johan Grobler in P3. Ryan Otten's 4th. Daniel Rowe in P5. Paul Gerber in 6th. Simon Zerke in 7th. Atti Nagel in P8. Du Gerber in 9th. Tristan Dinobrega in 10th. Andrew Barber P11. And Yaz Samai in P12. Further down the field, Marius Prestorius in 13th. Jason Gibson P14. Yanaman Pruitt in 15th. Arno Kraus 16th. Jeff Hancock will be 17th. Thynos Botha in 18th. Stephen Kurdick 19th. And Tian Jacobs rounding out the 20-car field. Not too long, and then we will be underway for round number 2 of the Refined Racing League Porsche Cup. Let us know who's the money on for you in the comments. Let us know, because it's going to be a very interesting race. Whoever you are and whatever you are, whoever you're supporting, it's going to be a very good race indeed. The final few drivers lining up on the starting line. And then we will be making a start. Standing starts here as well, everyone. Got to make sure that you get the clutch just right. If you don't get the clutch point right, you let the clutch out too early, you let the clutch slip too much, it will go wrong. Revs are going to start rising in a moment. Here they come for round number 2. And we are underway. It's a very, very even start. Having a look at it. A couple of drivers have lost out already, although it seems to be pretty even Stevens. Oh, there's a big crash in the back already. Jan Jacobs, Marius Pistorius, I think have already had an instance as everyone now comes down into the final corner. Someone's actually gone off on their own. Couldn't quite see who that was. Jason Gibson has gone off on his own accord. At the moment, it's Lucchesi, Haynes and Grobler are currently your top 3, but number 64 of Ryan Ottens was pressuring a little bit. Decides to slot back behind Grobler. Wow, just about getting right. We see the two hybrid cars currently separated by Ottens. Trying to gang up him, but nothing at the moment. Checking up, going through down into 6 and 7. Where it all starts to get a little bit tricky. Cold tyres as well, remember. Do make sure you keep an eye out for that, because tyres, again, it's going to be a massive, massive impact if you get these tyres too hot too fast. Everyone seems to be going through relatively well. At the moment, nothing. Apologies for that. We have got when they're back a little bit again. The last corner, that's a very, very tricky one. You've got to be careful of that. What's happened here? Jeff Hancock is about to make a move, possibly down on Finus Botha, and I think it's going to be a drag race down into turn 1. And you know what? I believe it's going to be last of the late breakers. Who is going to be the last of the late breakers here? Diving down to the brakes, both of them. Jeff Hancock goes a little bit wide. Whoa! I think a tiny bit of a lock-up there for Botha, and that caused him just to go off. There's a couple of other people that's gone off as well. I couldn't quite see who that was. Might have been Nobrega, and I think it was. Yes, indeed. So Nobrega, the number 70, has unfortunately lost out on a fair few positions. Have a look at the front of the field, though. Just having a quick gander. Lucchesi is 1.2 seconds away from Tim Haynes already after the first lap. And then going forward from there, you've got Tim Haynes, Johan Grobler, Ryan Ottens, and Daniel Rowe, all pretty close to one another. But Lucchesi is really trying to make his statement already, isn't he? And he's certainly doing so. This is the view now from Tim Haynes, the gearbox view for Tim Haynes. You can see it's relatively even further down. I wouldn't say it's massively even. There's a little bit of a bigger gap between Rowe and Gerber. Goes through down into turn 1 the next time. Grobler catches up a little bit. He takes a bit more speed on the way in, but loses a bit of speed on the way out. Again, remember, on the left-hand side, you've got those different coloured indicators. In yellow, less than a second. Orange, less than half a second. Let's quick look, if we can, of the crash and what happened with Finus Botha. Let's have a look here. So this is when Jeff Hancock was trying to make the move, and I think it was just the lock of the brakes. Bit too much rearward bias. Very, very easy for the car to come around. Jeff Hancock's has gone off. What's happened to Jeff Hancock's? Oh, that's a nasty incident. What has happened there? That's coming on the exit of turn 2 by the looks as you drop down the crest into turn 3. We'll see if we can get a replay of that in a few moments' time. In fact, I think we've got a replay up now. Yes, we have. Let's have a look at what happened. Oh, dear. Oh, that's going to be in the wall. Oh, not as bad of a hit as I thought, actually, to be fair. Unfortunately, Jeff Hancock's may be suffering from just a little bit of damage. Have a look at the steering. The steering seems to be running straight and true, which is good. See, last corner a little bit deep into the last corner, but again, manages to keep it. All sorts. Just push that. Seem to push that a little bit much. In the battle box on the right-hand side. I mean, it says battle for first, but at the moment, I mean, Lucchesi is I wouldn't say he's storming away. He's got a commanding lead of that second at the moment. Again, it's a commanding lead. It's a commanding lead after 4 laps, to be fair. Although Tim Haynes is now starting to rake that back in. Remember that gap beforehand was 1.2 seconds. Have a look in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen and in the top left. It's less than a second now. So already we see Tim Haynes trying and reading that gap in. It's actually just dipped under 0.8 of a second briefly there. There's that battle. Grobler is 0.8 of a second behind. Stephen Koenig had a small moment. Let's have a quick look at that. Oh, bit of a contact. Number 55 and the 38. Here's the 55. Jason Gibson and Stephen Koenig having a bit of a clashing horns there. Certainly something you don't want to do, especially this early in the race. Just catches a bit of gravel. Does Tim Haynes. And trying to maximise that pace. Both drivers have really pulled out a gap now from P3. What's happened to... Oh, Gerber's had an incident. What has happened here? Yeah, maybe able to get a... In fact, yes, here it is. Here is... Is it going to be... It might look like it's just on the brakes again. Looks to be quite very late on the brakes. Very late on the brakes. Does the rear come around? Yep, rear comes around. And unfortunately, not much you can do. To be fair, Gerber did exactly what he should have done. Just hold those brakes. But again, has to wait for what seems like an eternity to get the car spun back around, and off he goes. Not ideal. So Gerber now drops down, having lost 10 positions, drops down now into P19. Certainly something. What has happened? I just had a small... I think that Jesse was having a few little internet issues, because it just showed there that he wasn't particularly... He was... he dropped out of favour there for position. Meanwhile, a little bit of a position down in the battle for P5. So Paul Gerber did pass, and there was a move. And in fact, here is the move for P5 coming through. And it was because Daniel Rowe had a small moment, a small little lock-up going down into turn 1. Now it's Daniel Rowe got to try and get that position back. He's dropped 1 position since he started this race in P5. Now currently running in P6. Gaps are starting to open up. He hasn't got anyone behind him that he's got to worry about too much. The next gap closest, the next car closest is Simon Zerkin. That's 1.9 seconds. He has a bit of a look up the inside. Oh, no, bit of a big contact. Massive contact between the two. We're going to have to get some replays up of that, because what happened there? Paul Gerber certainly got the worst of it. What did happen? I think Daniel Rowe's car is okay. And let us hope that Paul Gerber will be able to continue to jump on the circuit. It's a tricky one. We've got to look at a couple of more. Got to look at a couple more replay cameras if we can. Yeah, I think having a look at how open we had the steering on Paul Gerber, and just having a look at the and just having a quick look. Let's have a look here. Yeah, we just got the wrong camera angle there. Apologies. But here we go. So this is coming down into the. This is the very first the lap of which it happened. So we've got to wait for the entire lap. You can just see how much we've got Daniel Rowe pressuring. Again, we're just having a look. There's not too much at the moment. There's a bit of it's calmed down a little bit on the main stream. So we'll be able to sit on board with this replay and have a look and see what actually happened. Gives us another opportunity to sit on board in one of these Porsche Cup cars, which is never a bad thing. Go through down is turn 6, turn 7. It's much tighter line from Daniel Rowe there. Needs to keep it in check a little bit. I wonder, did Gerber have a bit of a moment? In fact, yes, he did. So that's why. And then Daniel Rowe's got that drive. He's got the run all the way down. Goes to the inside, very last minute. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, that was Daniel Rowe. Unfortunately, his a little bit too deep onto the brakes. It was a bit of an optimistic move, and unfortunately, it just didn't quite stick. So, whoa, Paul, wow, fair play. Let's have another look at that. I want to see that again. So going down into turn 2, a little bit wide, a little bit too much throttle on, and then massive moment there. Keeps it in check though, does Gerber. Wow. Very impressive stuff. I'm sure Paul won't be thinking the same thing. But the number 51 Team Triad Racing, the pro driver, keeps it, manages to get it back onto the circuit. A little bit further up ahead though, what is going on here? Because Johan Robler has got past And in fact, no, apologies. It was Grobler still trying to defend off of Ottens, but Ottens wants to have another look up the inside of turn 2. Is he going to make it stick? They're going to go side by side. Grobler's going to be hung out to dry. They're still side by side as they go through. Is this going to be a move? I believe it is, yes. So Ryan Ottens pushes and moves past Johan Grobler and takes P3. So those drivers have now swapped positions, and they have now gained and lost one respectively. In terms of where they started. Obviously Grobler losing a position since he started from Ottens, and Ottens gaining a position since he has started. Another replay here, another one from Jeff Hancock's, another little incident that seems to be here. This is coming down into turn 4. That's a tricky one. As the car comes off, the car then compresses back on. It's a very tricky one indeed. Daniel Rowe moving back through the field. That is Yaz Samai that he moves past. Down to the last corner. That is the position. That's the move that he was trying to, I'm sure that he would have wanted to have made on Paul Gerber. But unfortunately, it didn't quite go to plan. Nobrega has had a moment. Where's this? Coming down to turn 4 again. Yeah, another lockup. It's so tricky. You actually, when we were riding on board with Lechesi, you could see there, and you did see sort of what was going on in terms of actually. Yeah, that was a very tricky one. Do Gerber, this seems to be a bit of deja vu for one of the Team Try Hard Racing Pro-Am cars. And both losers out on that position there. Jeff Hancock's is now the person behind. Yeah, going into turn 4, you can actually see when we were riding on board with Lechesi, you could see how smooth he was and how controlled he was on the car, and it really showed. And it you know. Just see that, especially on the gearing. Gearing was nice, it was slow, it was controlled, it wasn't aggressive, wasn't really pushing the car, and it was just smooth. Whoa, that's a big send! Oh no! Jeff never going to work, unfortunately. I mean, certainly gave it a go. Unfortunately, didn't work. Didn't get a replay of that. Possibly a little bit later. The midfield has opened up. P10 to P12 is a bit of a four-way battle going on here, which is really good to see. Currently being led by Jason Gibson. In fact, there he is. The next person. That's a bit of a send by Paul Gerber. Never going to make it. Oh no, that's not going to work. Certainly something that Jason Gibbon didn't want, and going from leading that pack and of now having dropped 4 positions. That is certainly not something that he would have wanted to happen. And that's going to be frustrating, I am sure. As going forward, Andrew Barber, the 777, being pressured quite heavily by Yanamand Pruis. Nothing, you know, pressured, yes. Is there too much sort of going on here? No, it's just the calm before the storm, I think, is probably the best way to put it. What has happened to Yaz Samai? This is going down into the final. Whoa, that's a big moment. Manages to, only suffers from a half spin, actually. So, all in all, that could have been a lot worse there, because that's a fast bit of the circuit. And it's an unsettled part of the circuit as well. You've got to be careful there, but manages to keep it pointing roughly in a straight line. What's going to happen with Ruiz? Is he going to try and make a move? No, because Barber just defends in the right position. Oh, hang on a minute. I've just had a quick look. What's happened to Lucchesi? Oh, my goodness. Lucchesi, and who's that? It's number 24. Who's the 24? 24 is Tian Jacobs. A back marker. I wonder if there's been a bit of contact with the back marker. And I'm just having a look as well, and I can't actually see it. So Tim Haynes has now inherited the lead. Lucchesi goes off once again. Oh, dearie me. What has happened? We've got a lot of catching up to do here. Let's have a look at what Tian Jacobs had. So it just seems then, I wonder if, I don't actually know what happened. I have no idea what happened there, to be honest. If we can have a quick look on, so this is Tian Jacobs coming down through into turn 2. There is Jesse and Tim Haynes, actually, interestingly enough. So he goes to back out by the looks. Does he just get does Lechetti just get caught out a little bit? It's a bit of a tricky one, actually. That's an interesting one. I don't really know how to put that there. If I'm honest, that doesn't really. That's a hard one. That is a hard one to work out sort of how you're, how you want to approach it, really. Let's have a look at the onboard from Lechetti. What happens here? I reckon Lechetti got a bit caught out. I could very well be wrong. The closing speed, so you can see they're a little bit slower for Tian Jacob. Yeah, okay, so what happened there? So looking at it, Jacobs was trying to let both drivers by. Unfortunately, just didn't quite work in the way that he wanted to. And it was something that Lechetti just got caught out a little bit by. In fact, Lechetti is... I can't actually find one. So Lechetti's he's fourth. Currently up to P4 again. He actually just passed Johan Growler. In fact, we can see if we can grab that replay there. I wonder if we're going to be able to see where that position is. No, we're not going to be able to see that position gain. Apologies. What that does mean is Tim Haynes inherits the lead. Ryan Otten's 1.5 seconds behind. And then Grobler takes back P3 again, so he's now back up, and Ottens is now up 2 positions from where he started. But yeah, Tim Haynes has just been gifted that position. He's just gone, well, thank you very much. I'm going to sail off into the distance. He did it last time, didn't he? I'm going to see something the same again. Again, is he going to want to... Obviously, you don't want to gain positions in that way, but at the same time, you're not going to... you're not going to complain if a position is gained from that way. So, it's a tale of two halves, really. You've got to take those opportunities when they come. You've got to stay neutral in those positions when they come. If it's a position gain, great. You just have to sort of crack on with it, really. You can't really do much more than that. Yeah, SDK overlays having a bit of a couple of times. You can see on the left-hand side of the timing tower, you see all of a sudden it says people that are out, and then they pop back in. Now, that's nothing to do with our side. That will generally just be a... that will be something that's a... all that will be is something to do with the servers that are particularly... the servers going forward at the moment, so... that's something that, unfortunately, we're unable to control. So I do apologise about the small... mishaps that are going on there, but yeah, from our side, unfortunately, we can only hope and pray that they do get a little bit better towards the end of this race, of which we are more than halfway through now. 16 laps have gone, 10 laps remain. 25 laps all in all here. And so bear in mind, that's going to go pretty quickly. When you've got a lap that is only a minute and a half long, not even that, sorry, a minute and 9 seconds long, that time ticks down very, very quickly. Pruis and Barber. And the gaps really coming down between the two. Barber's still being pressured. Again, there's nothing massive happening at the moment. It's just, at the moment, Pruis is sitting there just gauging at the moment. Where is Barber slower? Where is Barber faster? And interesting, you can see the different driving styles here. Now, Pruis is actually doing something that I would personally do, which is going into the corner a little bit slower and carrying the speed out of the corner. That's what I will tend to do. What that does is it does give you a little bit more opportunity. You've got more options if that happens. You can bring the car in, you can settle the car through, and it generally turns round, and it really does sit the car in a position where you've got some additional stability. I think it's probably the best way to describe it. Is you can open the steering quicker, you can get on the throttle sooner, it's easier to control the car. If you're going a bit too fast, you're going in faster, and you have a small lock-up, something like that, very, very hard to get that car back. Really, all you can do is just wait for the car to come back round to you. This is going to be the best opportunity that Paris has had all race because Barber's having to go on the defensive line. No, he decides against it though. Takes his normal line through turn 2. Again, you can just see a little bit slower in there for Paris, but managing to keep up that momentum through the corner and onto the exit. They're very, very fast. Is Barber through turn 3. So Barber's able to pull a lot of time out of Paris on turn 3. That's the biggest gain that we can see there. So really, whatever Paris and the Team Heap Together car is able to pull back and is able to pull on Barber, Barber's just able to just extend that through the latter half of, you know, for a good majority of the latter half of the lap. At the moment, we've got Barber is out of the two is the more consistent. Looking at these last couple of laps that we have currently been on with the two. Johan Grobler is really right onto the back of Ryan Ottens at the moment. In fact, there is the gearbox cam from the number 64 Hybrid Academy. And down to the last corner, very, very quick. Grobler just getting a little tiny bit onto the curb on the inside. That will be hurting him a little bit. And that will hurt his time. And that will hurt his general track position going down into on the exit of the last corner. It's very tricky for the car to push up, and it's very easy for the car to push up and jump on its suspension, and the car decides to sail off into the gravel trap. I am speaking of that through experience, to be fair. Ottens has pulled a little bit. You can hear what Ottens is doing, though, especially going down into through 3 and into 4. You can hear what Ottens is doing. He's really aggressive on the downshift. Have a look, see if he does it down into... He might do it down into the last corner or possibly turn 1 as well. But you'll hear as soon as he starts braking, there's a gear change on. There's a gear down. So he does it through the last corner. Not as much through there. I think turn 3 was really the point at which you noticed it. It's just it almost is used rather than the brake, which is an interesting way of doing it. It's a viable way of doing it as long as you can get it right. If you get the timing right, it certainly is a viable way. Grobler carrying a bit more pace on the entry, but loses out on the exit. Come now down to turn 2. Let's have a look again. See if we can hear that gear change. There you go. There's the gear change. That drop down. Trying to give the car, you're slowing the car down on the engine rather than, a little bit deep there. That's really allowed. There we go. There is Grobler once again back. The number 15 Hybrid Academy car. That drop from 5th to 4th really quickly just gives a bit more weight settled over onto the front axle. Saves you having to brake really as much, so you get a bit of turning, a bit of rotation, but you don't have to slow the car down as much with any brakes, or with as much brake. So I'd certainly, if you can get comfortable with that, using that to your advantage, using the gearbox to your advantage, absolutely. Why would you not? Down to turn 1 again. 4 more laps to go here. Tim Haynes still leading the way with a gap now of 2.4 seconds. So just extending that gap even further. We've got a little bit further down the field. A couple of battles sort of going on at the moment. Paris has actually indeed got past Gerber. I'm just having a quick look, see if we can actually see if we can see that overtake happen. And in fact, I think we may be able to. Apologies, that happened. It happened a little bit earlier than that. Let's see if we can go and get that overtake, because I would really like to I would certainly like to see that overtake. Is it going through down? No. So again, the move happened a little bit earlier than that. Again, this is where you see we had a few small technical things here, which is why we're getting that little bit of sort of jumping in and out from drivers. Probably will have to go quite far back, actually, to be fair, when we find that overtake. So I'm going to see if we can get that a little bit further, a little bit later for us, because I really would want to see that. Ah, there we go. That is why, because Paul Gerber had a bit of an off. So that was why Prius was able to take position back. And then I think, not a few moments later, Prius actually had an off of himself. And in fact, there it is. So a move that happened, then almost immediately lost it again. There is the 51 you can just see in the background there. So that was why that move was a little bit tricky to find. But managed to find it in the end. There is Tim Haynes with 2 more laps to go. The number 88 hasn't got too much longer as he goes through down into turn 2 for the penultimate time. Down through turn 3, settle the car through turn 4, using the road dividers as a bit of a guide. So it's a very handy way to maybe use it as a guide to put the car in the position that you want. And once again, uses the guide, uses that road dividing, uses the road dividers to just give a sense of what the car's doing and allow you to be able to turn around. And it's a great reference to use. It's a perfect reference to use, especially if you know that that's where you need to go. You need to aim for the middle of the track. Then why would you not use it? A little bit further down, we can see this may very well be a potential move. Grobler goes out to the outside. Last of the late breakers. It's still going to be Otton's at the moment. But this is the battle to really look out for. Zerka and Lucchesi. Lucchesi's going to try and make the move. Last of the late breakers once again for those two into turn 1. And it is going to be Lucchesi with the move. The number 993 manages to retake. Currently not a podium spot. Only a couple of laps to go. But manages to, from that instant he had with Tian Jacobs, has now worked his way back up to P4. We can see another move. This is between Gerber and Barber. Down into turn 1 once again. Last of the late breakers. Who is it going to be? At the moment, it's going to be Gerber. Yes, because Barber has a small moment. So that is... I believe indeed. Yes, Gerber has passed Barber. So another position unfortunately lost for the 777. The position gained for Paul Gerber up into P9. Still having lost 3 positions since his starting position of P6. But working his way through the field very nicely indeed. The final lap has been started by Mr. Tim Haynes. But this is the battle that we really want to see. Is there going to be any moves between the two? There's actually quite a fair chunk of battle going on here. Is it between Barber, Kraus and Pruitt? This is a very big battle. I'm not too sure what happened to Pruitt. He's dropped off. Had a massive drop off again. I wonder where that was. Could it have been here? I believe it was down into turn 4. Lock of the brakes. Down into turn 4. And certainly not ideal. Last lap for these 3 here. Very tight battle between all of them. Where is Tim Haynes? There is Tim Haynes. He's come out of the second to last corner already. 1 more corner to go. And then Tim Haynes will be taking a victory here for round number 2. 1 more corner, negotiates it. Nice and safe. And there we go. Tim Haynes taking round number 2 victory here at Summit Point. Ryan Ottens and Johan Grober will take P2 and P3 respectively. And then Luke Lucchesi just coming through the last corner. Now, Simon Durkee in P5. What a race that was there. Very, very exciting stuff. We've still got a couple of battles going on now. One of them between Gerber and Pretorius. Is there going to be a bit of a tidy lock-up? Well, I'll tell you what, the number 17, Pretorius, even running the curb on the inside. And running the curb on the inside there as well. He's got certainly a damaged car. The car has seen better days. One more corner to go. Pretorius goes a little bit wide. This is going to be a perfect opportunity. Although at the moment, seems to have a run. He seems to have enough. Going to be last. Oh, a bit too late. Bit too late on the brakes there for Gerber. It may have been a small little lockup as well. Unfortunately. Unfortunately. And there we go. A couple more drivers coming across the line to finish. In fact, I think Barber was the last one. And it was indeed. And there we go. Round number 2 is all done and dusted. What a race. How close was that towards the end for some of those drivers? Very, very good stuff. Yeah, lots of action. We saw that in round 1. We knew we were going to see that in round 2. But again, very, very good stuff. As we bring up your results for you in a few moments. And in fact, here they come up now. Here they are. So, taking the race victory was Tim Haynes for number 88. Ryan Otten's P2. Johan Grobler in 3. Luke Lucchesi in 4th. Simon Zerke in 5th. Ati Nagel in 6th. Daniel Rowe taking P7. Yas Samai in P8. Paul Gerber in 9th. And Yanaman Pruis in 10th. Arno Kraus takes P11. Marius Pretorius in 12th. Du Gerber in 13th. Andrew Barber 14th. Jeff Hancock's P15 lap down. Stephen Kurdick 16th. 2 laps down. As well as Tian Jacobs as well, 2 laps down. Jason Gibson will be finishing in P18. And then we've got Thinus Botha and Tristan Dino Brega finishing P7 laps down and 15 laps down, respectively. And that is your 20-car field here for round number 2. We are going to take a short break, everyone. Stick around. We'll be back in a few moments' time. And we are back, everyone. Welcome back to the post-race for round number 2. Got a couple of drivers in for interviewing. One of them, I believe, well, we do have Jeff Hancock's in the booth. Jeff, can you hear me? I don't think we can get Jeff at the moment. Unfortunately, we might have a couple more people coming on in a few minutes. We've actually got a couple of people here. One of which I believe is Ryan Ottens. Ryan, are you there?
Yes, how's it, Daniel?
Good. I'm very good, thank you. How are you? How are you getting on?
Yes, tired after that. That took a lot of concentration to keep this car on the track.
I'm not surprised. This is quite a short circuit for a car like this, and it's a fast circuit as well. It doesn't seem like it when you normally race this in MX5s, to be fair. So it's something you don't normally actually get really a chance to race in this. So what was it like from your perspective?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm loving these cars. Newish to iRacing, been ACC, so coming this side, and it's really feeling good. I enjoy the challenge here. This car's a challenge, and I enjoy it. It's good fun. And the racing's so tight. I mean, did you see the qualifying time?
I did indeed, yes. Very close.
Unbelievable.
Very, very close indeed.
So, yeah. Thank you to everyone for putting it on.
No, it was absolute. No, it was really, really good. Absolute pleasure. And it was great. It was an absolute great race to watch. Moving forward, a couple of weeks' time, what's the game plan going forward? Same as before? Is there anything you feel like you're going to want to change?
No, other than just some practice time. This car just needs practice. That's all it needs. You just need to get comfortable and be able to do 25 laps. So lots of practice.
Well, that's certainly never a bad thing. Well, Ryan, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for the quick interview, and we look forward to hopefully catch up with you in similar circumstances in a couple of weeks' time.
Yes, thank you. Thanks again.
Take care, Ryan.
Cheers.
There we go. That was Ryan Otten's P2 in round number 2. We've got a couple of other drivers in the booth as well. So we'll have a quick catch up if we can. We've got one person, I believe, who's on mute. Can't see if we can be able to get in contact. We've actually also got as well Jeff Hancock's in the booth. Can you hear me, Jeff?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. How are you doing?
Yeah. it was interesting.
It certainly was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Certainly was. Obviously, it didn't go quite as well as as I imagine you would have hoped. But
No.
yeah, just talk me through. Was it a little bit of the? Was it tricky in regards to the circuit itself? Just the combination of the two. Sort of what was happening?
Yeah, like difficult to say, to be fair. Like, it just, for me, it didn't start well and went downhill from there. But I think it's just one of those circuits where it's so difficult. It punishes any mistakes, especially in this car. You just can't make errors. So a couple of lockups. Did like too late on the brakes. Got rear locking a couple of times. It's just one of those. The debit time credits experience for me.
Well, there's always next week. Speaking
Indeed,
of which, obviously, a couple of weeks' time. What's the again? Same that I asked Ryan. Anything you're going to want to do differently?
Yeah, I mean, like, I definitely feel a bit more comfortable at Lime Rock. It's a circuit that I've done a hell of a lot more driving. So I think that'll be good. But again, I just think a lot of practice is to understand how I can make this car work as well as possible on that circuit. So it'll be good we're not using the chicane. The chicane layout, so it's still going to be tricky up the hill with the bump, but yeah, there should be a lot more free flowing than it was tonight.
Absolutely, very, very true indeed. Well, Jeff, very good to catch up, and I look forward to catch up with you in a couple of weeks' time. And then we've got another very, very chance to have a quick catch up with Johan. We've got Johan Grover. Johan, can you hear me?
I can, Dan. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. First off, am I pronouncing your name correctly? If I'm not, I apologise.
It'll do. It's not bad.
So how does one pronounce your?
It's Johan Grobler, actually.
Grobler. Okay.
Grobler, yeah.
Right, gotcha. There we go. Apologies.
No worries.
I'll make sure that's right. First off, very, very well done. P3. Certainly can't complain about that. That was a tricky race for you, especially at the end when you were having a good old battle with Ryan Otten. Talk us through those final few laps.
Yeah, it was tense to say the least. It's not the type of circuit where you can really set up an easy pass, so you sort of have to rely on the guy in front to make a mistake, which Ryan did a couple of times, but not big enough mistakes to really get it nose in and sort of force the issue. So happy with a P3 and thought, just let's not risk losing that and taking him out as well. So didn't do any silly moves and just concentrated and brought the car home.
Absolutely, and I completely agree. That's certainly a viable tactic to be able to say and to be able to do. How is Lime Rock for you as a track? Is that something do you have more? Are you more familiar with that compared to Summit Point, or?
It is something that I did in the weekly races, so sort of the track knowledge wasn't as lacking as last week, but also just starting to get to grips with the car a bit more now. So things starting to come together nicely, I think.
Good stuff. Well, that is exactly what we like to hear. Well, Johan, thank you very much for having that quick catch up with us. Look forward to catching up with you again in Lime Rock Park. And I'm very, very well done indeed again on your P3.
Thank you. See you guys again.
See you later. And that is it for this evening. Thank you all for watching. As always, absolute pleasure to have everyone on the stream. Also, quick congratulations to Tim Haynes. His mic is still unable. His mic isn't working, but again, a very, very well done on P1. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time at the same time, 7 o'clock GMT, 9 o'clock in South Africa for the third round at Lime Rock Park. An interesting circuit, a circuit that shares some similarities with Summit Point, but there is quite a few variations that drivers will have to be conscious of. Please make sure if you haven't already subscribed to the Tribe Nerds YouTube channel, and we will be able to catch up with you same time next week for round number 3. Thank you again for watching. Take care. Stay safe.